on your journey, the path you must take. Though hate may surround you, it's not your fate to forsake. Co-creating your destiny in the dance of time. The guiding light within you ignites the sublime. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. In the depths of your being, the truth resides. Embrace your power, let your spirit rise. With every step forward, you transcend the expanded conscious community we commend. Through trials and triumphs, your soul evolves in the symphony of life, where every note resolves. Listen to the whispers of your inner voice. In unity and love, let your heart rejoice. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. As we gather together in this sacred space, embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way in unlocking potential day by day. Embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way, unlocking potential day by day.
Hope y'all ready. It's gonna be a beautiful show. Make sure you like and share. Wonderful guest, Miss Desimber Rose. It's going to be amazing. All right, let's go. We're gonna get this show on the road. Ooh, yes, yes, yes. I'm ready. I hope y'all ready. I see that people will log on. Y'all be kind of late logging in. They come at 10 o'clock my time, 9:30 my time. And now y'all want to log in like it's the late show. I see we got some comments. You ready, Miss Deidre? Let's see who we got in. Who's in the space?
Hey, everybody. Good evening. Don't forget to like and share. Let's see who we have so far. It's some of our regular viewers. Hi, Miss Lynn. How are you? The YouTube land. Good to see you. And there's Mother Gwen. Good to see you, Mother Gwen. And LaSonia, hi. Good evening. It's good to see you. Okay, don't forget, everybody, like and share because you do not want to miss our guest tonight. She's absolutely one of my favorite people. She knows that, but you guys get to experience her in real time.
Cool. This, of course, this weekend is, just to say it now, this weekend, Saturday.
Yes, our community gathering.
Yep.
In our private community. So join us in Patreon if you want to do that. It will be 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern.
Yep. That'd be fun. And still doing the Spiritual Warrior.
Yes.
We'll send out things inside Patreon. You know, I have a question. I'm still playing it real quick. I'm just wondering, I'm paying attention. Is everybody still listening a little bit?
To Beyond Belief? Yeah.
To Beyond Belief? I've heard some really good results people are having, right? I've been having fun with it. I'm still creating. Yes. You can go to the Bandcamp, and of course, I still got it posted first thing on the website. Learn to love myself.
Welcome, Creasy. Good to see you, dear.
I posted a question in the Bandcamp, and I think it was asking a question: what song do you listen to, or are you listening to? And I think Keep On Keeping On, which was a song dedicated to Bishop, was one of the top ones. Anyways, we're gonna get the show on the road. I thank you guys for logging in. I got close to 10 of you. So we're gonna keep it moving. So before we start, what I'm going to do is we're going to see a little bit of our guest before she gets on. So let's check her out, as she was on some YouTube channel. I don't know. I just thought it was funny, and I was like, we're gonna get a little bit of an introduction. Here we go.
Holding tightly to Christ, and I'm releasing Christianity. And I'll be honest and say, I haven't completely let go of Christianity just because it's such a big part of my life. I'm 42, and I've called myself a Christian for at least 40 of those years, at least 41 of those years. I only just shed that title in 2020. So, and I still use it when I don't feel like explaining to people what I am. So if it's not a conversation I feel like having, I'll just say I'm a Christian. And I know generally they know that means I believe in Christ, because I don't feel like telling them I believe in Christ, but I don't fuck with y'all. I don't feel like having that conversation. But the bottom line is, the reason why I hold so tightly to Christ but not Christianity, I love Christ is the voice that speaks to me the loudest. It's the leading voice in my life that speaks to me the loudest. Through the word, through inspiration, whatever you want to put behind it. Okay. It's the light for me. And the reason why I'm holding close to it versus Christianity is, I think for me, I love Christ too much to be a Christian. If the definition and example of Christian is what the crap that I'm seeing in the church and in the world, and these same people are calling themselves a Christian, I have a hard time calling myself a Christian too. I have a hard time calling myself a Christian when it was Christians who were scaling the walls at the Capitol and beating police officers with fire extinguishers and carrying on. I have a really hard time calling myself a Christian when it's Christian pastors that are beating their wives and molesting their children. And I have a real hard time calling myself a Christian when it's evangelical Christians carrying water for Donald Trump. This man, you call yourself a Christian and you say that the life of Christ and the Bible is your standard, but your standard bearer is Donald Trump, somebody who lied. If he's breathing, he's lying. He got 5 kids by 3 baby mamas. He cheated on all his wives, including his current wife. Every time that man opened his mouth, he say something ridiculous. But your standard is Christianity. Like our people say, you a lie and the truth ain't in you. Your standard is control and power. And as of late, fear and hate. And I can't stand in the same spot as you and call myself the same thing as you and be all right with myself. And for that reason, I love Christ, but Christianity can go to hell. This is a dissonance between Christ and the church, because everywhere you look in the scripture, Christ is loving somebody, no matter what they was doing. He got persecuted for that. You know, in the scripture where he was eating with the tax collectors and the prostitutes and da-da, and they said, look at him, he eating with them, da-da-da. And he was like, it's the people who, what did he say? Something about, it's those who don't think they need a physician. You know, something in there. I'm paraphrasing, but if you know, you know. And he's always, everything Jesus ever did pointed to love. And he actually flat out said, I came to fulfill, the law has been fulfilled with love. Basically, with all that whoop-de-whoop, I call it whoop-de-whoop, all that, you got to do this, all that 12 steps to salvation, and you got to do this, and you got to do that, you need to live like this, and you need to dress like this, and you need to love like this, and you need to vote like this, and don't go over there, because that's sin, and this. I already, when I said it was finished, it really was. And I know you don't believe it, because you keep trying to make people fulfill the law. And you keep cherry picking the pieces of the law that are beneficial to you and your institution. And you straddle the fence between the law and grace. And you done made faith your side chick, because you're really married to the law. But you bring in faith and you bring in grace when you want to have a little extra fun. And when you want to make it appealing to others to come in. And then once you get them in there with the love, then you hit them with the law. You get bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray. You know what I'm saying? And so I consider, you know, I think the church treats Christ and grace and love like it's side chick, because it's main girl, it's bottom bitch, is the law. And you're going to find that out. Once you get in these walls, you're going to find out it's all about the law. And why is it all about the law? Because it is always about control.
All right. That right there is what we call a wonderful and amazing introduction by you yourself, right? Over how you, what would I say, articulate your feeling and your connection to who you are today. But I will put more, of course, on the bio about who you are. Of course, multiple books. She's connected to our dear friend Keith Giles, and over there working with him on their podcasts that are on, I believe, Sirius Radio, and an incredible bio. But thank you for coming out, and thank you for connecting to Expanded Consciousness and all of us here, because I think that I know for a fact that you'll find some more family.
Yay.
Right? That you get to, what would I say? We get to work together and be able to have conversation. One of the things about the church, and where a lot of us are bridging from, is being able to have connection and people to connect with, and leaders and people that are leading in a way. It's so easy to look at the theology that we need to question and give other people some kind of understanding on various aspects of theology. But one of the things is being able to actually have a connection to someone that's like-minded. And so, of course, you're coming, you were raised in Washington, but currently, can you give us a little synopsis of how you come to be? Because we able to learn someone about you and spending most of your life as a Christian and label that, and now we're getting the understanding, especially with Western Christianity, that it's not one Christianity. It never has been, really, but it's not one Christianity. There's 45,000 plus variations of denominations within this. But how did you arrive to this point? Where were you is the first question I have. What church and things you were tied to, but then how did you arrive to this point where you were like, no, that's not working for me?
Yeah, well, it was first. Thank you for having me on the show, Coach Malachi. Thank you for having me. Thank you to Deidre for inviting me, and thank you to all those that are watching for giving their attention to us on tonight. So it's been a long journey to get here. It's been a long and colorful, and it's been a struggle to get here. But here I am. So I was raised actually Jehovah's Witness. I came up in the Kingdom Hall, for those of you know about that. Very strict religious household. My mom was very strict with us in every kind of way. We didn't celebrate anything. We didn't really get to do much. And then around the age of 14, my mother went through a divorce and she left. They didn't disfellowship her, but they were pretty much, acted like they pretty much did. So she left. And at that time, I started attending New Light Missionary Baptist Church in Moses Lake, Washington. And all my friends were going there. So I always wanted to go there. And for a little while, it was a wonderful experience. But at the age of 14, almost 15, a new pastor came in. And that started a long road with me that changed my life forever. And I was groomed by that pastor from the time I was about 14, 15, all the way up until the time I was in high school, 18. I ended up losing my virginity to this man. This was my pastor. It was such a traumatic experience going through that. I was then guilted into marrying him. Now, mind you, he was married when that happened. But they ended up getting divorced, and I was guilted into. There's preachers like, well, you might as well marry him. You ruined his marriage. And I'm like, I ruined his marriage. I was 14 when he met me. This man is pushing 40. So this is all in my book too. So I'm making a long story very short. But you asked, how did I get here? So 19, I'm finding myself married and the chief breadwinner to this almost 40-year-old pastor. And it was one of the darkest seasons in my life. It was one of the darkest seasons in my life. During that time, I contemplated committing suicide. But also, I was able to experience the church from the pulpit all the way to the pew, because I'm behind the scenes now as a minister's wife, a preacher's wife, and I'm seeing all this craziness go on in the church. So coming up through that, from that experience and through being married to him, I really got into a love-hate relationship from the church pretty early on. And it's a wonder that I ever ended up in ministry after going through all that. But I ended up becoming a pastor myself. I was a youth pastor for some years, and then I founded a church called the Restoration Center. And then I was elected to pastor a church. That was at first Cornerstone. Then we changed the name to the Rock Worship Center. And there was so much going on. This is such a long story. So I'm going to make a long story very short. And going through all of that experience, and I was in the pulpit preaching joy with no joy. I was so depressed. My marriage was crazy. There was all kind of stuff going on. I was preaching hope with no hope. I was preaching deliverance and bondage myself. I was preaching peace when I didn't have any peace, none, zero. And I was standing in the church feeling like if I wasn't already in this motherfucker, I wouldn't come up through this bitch. And I just,
I was tired, and I was just, it was, I had the church that I was pastoring. I went through all kind of legal stuff, and we were 5 years in litigation because the previous pastor had got the treasurer pregnant. Now this man is over 50. He gets a 20-something-year-old treasurer pregnant. He's also cheating on his wife with another associate minister. Starts another church, a branch of the church for that minister that he's cheating on his wife with in another city. It was so wild. Anyways, the church ended up voting him. At this time, I'm the associate pastor. The church ends up voting him out. He declares there's no board at all to begin with. Sues the board, sues the church, and says none of that was real because y'all, there's no board. It's just me. I'm like, who you been preaching to every week? So 5 years in litigation. Finally, because he was trying, what he really wanted was the property. This was a over 10,000 square foot church, 300 seat sanctuary with the nursery, offices, land, all this, like 30 acres of land. It was worth over $1 million. This property, debt free, no mortgage. So that's what he really was trying to hold on to. He didn't give a damn about the people or anything else. So the property and all that was tied up in litigation for 5 years. Got the church through that. We won the litigation against him. All the property was put in the name of the church. Finally got them out of there. That was such a wild time. During that time, there could be a movie made just about that time. They were coming up, changing the locks. We'd come to the church on Sunday, and they had chains on the doors where they had come and broken in and changed the locks. And so we'd show up for worship on the Sunday, and there were chains on the doors. We had to call the police out. This happened like 3 times. Finally, we got them like no trespass from the property. Oh, it was so wild. There was my associate pastor came up there with an AK, not an AK, an AR-15, whatever.
Yeah.
And it almost became a gunfight up there. This sounds crazy, but I promise you, I got witnesses. All this is true. Rest in peace to him. Our associate pastor. He passed from COVID but he would defend me. Now, what's so crazy about this church is predominantly white church. Most of these folks were Trump voters. This man would protect me, defend me with his life. He was like, I will kill somebody about you. And I was like, I love you for that. But don't do it, brother. Don't do it. Brother Bob. Finally got through that.
Wow.
And I was so tired. Because I went through a divorce through that time too. And I was just so exhausted. This was like an Elisha thing. And I was like, God, I can't no, send somebody else. Get somebody else to do it. And at this time, we were considering doing a tiny house development for veterans, for homeless veterans. And we wanted to do a tiny house community. And I ended up meeting a contractor who does tiny homes. And as he's sitting in my office up at the church, he's talking and we're just talking. And mind you, I'm putting years of happenings in this one, trying to condense it to this interview. And we're just we're talking, and he's talking about how him and his wife used to do a home ministry, and that they weren't part of any church at this time, but how they used to do home ministry going on. And my spirit started tingling. And I was like, okay. And, he's talking, and I was like, and then I was like, okay, that meeting ended, and we talked about what we're going to do. We're going to meet again about this tiny house development, because this is what he was there for. And the Lord spoke to me, and I invited him to come worship. I said, you need to come worship with us one of these Sundays. And the Lord spoke to me that week. Is it that week or the following week? And he's like, he's the one. He's the one. Him and his wife. So I was like, okay. Tomorrow's your last day. Like, okay. So that Sunday, mind you, this is their first time coming to the church to worship. Before that, they just came to the meetings about building this tiny home community for the veterans that we're going to build on the church property. This is their first time coming for worship. And the night before, Saturday, that's when the Lord said, these are the ones, and tomorrow's your last Sunday. And so I go through service as everything is normal, preach my sermon, And then at the end, I said to the congregation, I love you. And I'm so sorry for the announcement I'm about to make. I regret to inform you this is my last Sunday. They just started crying. My heart was so broken because these people love me and I love them. So I wasn't leaving because I love them. I didn't love them. I wasn't leaving them under a cloud of scandal or nothing like that. I was leaving because I believe my time was up and I was tired. and the Lord said, these are the ones. They came to worship that Sunday.
Mm.
And I asked them to stand up and I said, are you ready? They said yes. Now, mind you, I had not given them an announcement. I didn't tell nobody except my one sister friend. I told her, I need your support in service tomorrow. I have to make a very important announcement. I need you to be in service tomorrow. I didn't tell them. I didn't tell the congregation what I was going to do. And I said, this is my last Sunday. Come up here. And I anointed them. At that time, there was another ministry there too, but they were the primary ones. And I anointed them and I asked the church to come up and to lay hands on them and to receive them and to accept them. And they did. And I prayed over them and I left and I haven't pastored since. And that church is growing. They're doing well. They have a transitional housing ministry. They have the drug recovery ministry. They're doing great. You got to know when it's time to release a thing. Are you going to let it die in your hand or are you going to release it so it can live? You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of churches right now that are dying on the vine because the pastors don't have a succession plan and they refuse to hand that church over to someone who will let it flourish out of their ego, out of whatever the case is. They're literally dying on the vine. And what sense does that make? For you to hold on to the church until it's dead. They don't got any youth. They don't got any life. They don't got any children in the church. Nothing. Just a bunch of old people meeting every Sunday, dying every day as they go. And anyhow, that was not going to be me. I was ready to go. And furthermore, I heard the Lord tell me who was my successor. So it worked out. The people were sad, of course. I love them. I love them still. Every once in a while, they reach out to me and say, we love you, Pastor Rose. We miss you. If I have a speaking engagement and I tell them, they still come. You know, I love them. That was my experience. But during that time, I released the book, The Church Can Go to Hell. I divorced myself from Christianity. This was an evolution going on with me, basically. And I just say, I'm done with that. I'm done with that denominational stuff. I'm done with that religious legalism. I'm done with all of that. This relationship, this walk that I'm having with God is going to be real. It's going to be authentic. It's going to be about God. It's not going to be about church. It's not going to be about buildings. It's not going to be about these people. It's not going to be about these so-called saints. I ain't keeping up front for these folks. None of that shit. I'm done being cute about this. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm just done. And so that, to make a very, very, very long story as short as I can, that's how I landed in this place.
So did you find God?
Did I find God? Well, I didn't lose him to find him, but I believe he found me, as in where I was in that place with that ministry. You know what I'm saying? He found me in a place of grace. He ushered me out of religion into relationship with him. He loved me into the light. You know what I'm saying? And you think you're walking in the light until you really get in it.
Tell me about it. Tell me about that.
Until you get really seasoned.
So who or what is God? Like, how did you? Because I mean, the thing is like the things you've been through in the church, right? While going through the church and what was represented as God, come to find out was these men that talked about it, maybe even had some level of experience or connecting to this entity. In their space, it's a deity. But you got a history, a story of loneliness, a history, a story of hurt and pain, physical pain, right?
Yeah.
But you had to have an awakening, right? Tell me
Yeah.
about
And
your
what's so
awakening.
crazy is I was actually in seminary. I was in college getting ready to go into seminary. I was at Erskine Theological Seminary, Erskine College, which has a seminary. And I was thought that I wanted to go into the Presbyterian ordination process. So that's why I was there. But I was sitting in seminary, and the teacher, the professor was teaching. I can't remember what he was talking about. And I literally was sitting in there, and I was like, I don't want to do this shit. I think I was in the Old Testament, and it's so crazy because now I'm getting ready to go back to seminary to finish my MDiv at Bright Divinity School, and because I'm in a different place.
Yeah.
I'm going for a different reason. When I was before, it was I wanted to get this piece of paper so I could prove that I belong in the pulpit, so that I could prove that I'm worthy, so that I could prove that God has called me. And I want this piece of paper for that. I'm going now because I want to learn more about the God that I've served today. I want to learn more about historical religions. I want to learn more about how other faiths crisscross, align, and intersect with what I believe, and how my God is universal because my God is love. I want to learn more about the history. I want to be more enriched in myself and empowered in myself. It has nothing to do with me trying to prove to other people that I'm called, or prove that I deserve to stand in the pulpit, or prove that women should be allowed to preach. Fuck all them and fuck all that. This is for me.
You found some freedom, huh?
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Liberation.
Yes. Absolutely.
We talk about liberation theology, which is there's various. I was talking to someone, I think I was talking to Keith, and he was talking about quantum theology.
Mhm.
And I was telling someone earlier today that theology is so tied to philosophy. And once we discover that the relationship and just not necessarily have to have finite, I'm a mystic, so I just need you having a lived experience, and these finites, unless we're trying to figure out how to get to the moon, there's no, we don't need anything that's finite besides your lived experience when it comes to connecting to a deity, right? And or connecting to God, or the presence, or the feeling, the expression, right? And so I can clearly see, feel, hear, and listen that what you have and what you have experienced, a lot of people want. They, but yet though they may not go through what you've been through, thank goodness, because that's not made for everyone. A lot of people would actually not make it. So bravo to you. But you gotta, too much is given.
Much is required.
Much is required, right? Much is required. So thank you for your boldness and your tenacity. Um, what is something that you have done to get or find this liberation? Like, what is it that just awaken you to be like, you know what? I can be like, I love Jesus, but I ain't fucking with y'all.
I think one of the biggest things is being so confident in your love for Christ and Christ's love for you, that you could say that, right? I can always tell when someone is not confident in their faith. I am so confident in my faith. My husband is a Muslim. I'm so confident in my faith. I don't feel the need to convert my husband. I don't feel the need to condemn what he believes. This is a man of God. This man pray on his face 5 times a day. This man loves his mother. This man serves his community. This man has a righteous reputation in the streets. What am I going to convert him to? I could always tell when someone is not confident in their faith, because people who are not confident in their faith, they want to convert, they want to convict, they want to condemn, they want to criticize, they want to challenge. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do any of that, because the God I serve is so amazing and so big that he's big enough for all of us. He's big enough for the Christians. He's big enough for the Muslims. He's big enough for the Hindus. He's big enough for the Buddhists. He's big enough for the mystics. This God is so big, you know what I'm saying, that I don't feel like I need to convert anyone to my version of him. To feel what? To do what? To get them saved from what? You know, and so when you are confident in who you are first, and in who you believe, and in what you believe, all that bullshit could go to hell, and all the people preaching it can go to hell with it. You know, and that's the way I feel. And they could love it, like it, hate it, or leave it. I don't give a damn. And when you get to a place where you don't care what people think, more when what your belief in Christ. I said something in that interview that you played opening up, and I said I love Christ too much to be a Christian. When your love for God or what you believe, it don't have to be Christ, whatever it is that you believe, when it outweighs all that other shit, when it outweighs people's opinions, when it outweighs people's doctrine and their dogmas and their rules, regulations, rituals, then it's real to you. When you don't give a shit, that's when it's real. As long as you still care what people think and what people say, it ain't really real. You ain't really got it like you say.
You ain't really gangster.
You ain't no gangster. You ain't the real deal. You ain't got it like you say.
We played church
too much about what they think.
I mean, we've played church. I say play church, but we've instituted. Christianity has been instituted in America in such a way. And then if you look at after the Pentecostal movement, roughly in 1907, something like that, right? You have all these various, what would I say, movements, but it's time through the evolution that we have to evolve from that, because honestly, we wouldn't be we'll go into this a little deeper later, but we wouldn't be in our position we are now within our government if it wasn't for the fact that we were able to evolve with our belief systems. So our belief systems is what has been played from its inception. Okay, cool. Usually I'll pause out. There it goes. So hold on real quick. I have this situation with my computer and I'll come back, but it'll power back up. But anyways, we wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for the fact that we have carried on with these belief systems, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is it, would you say that you were able to change your belief system and able to just say, you know what, this is the direction I'm going. This is what I'm doing. And I know I'm confident in myself and that I'm right.
I think the main reason is having the confidence to hear, see, learn, and believe for yourself, right? So many Christians don't ask questions. They accept whatever is coming across that pulpit as the truth, as the gospel. So many Christians do not study to show themselves approved. Whatever comes across that pulpit, they accept it as the truth. They don't go study. Whatever the preacher says is in that Bible, they don't research it. And maybe it is in there, but what did it mean? What was the context? What was the era? Who was he talking to? What was the culture? There's nobody living today, and this probably gonna ruffle some people's feathers. And I like I said, I don't give a damn. There's nobody today that Bible was speaking to when it was written. First of all, it wasn't even called the Bible. There's nobody today that those scriptures were speaking to when they were written. Let me say that again. They weren't talking to your ass. And since they weren't talking to you, and it wasn't your culture, it wasn't your era, it wasn't your time, it wasn't your ethnic group, it wasn't your any goddamn thing. It's your job to figure out how is it speaking to you today and right now. And most people are not, like DS says in the comments, are not doing the critical thinking. They're not doing the critical thinking. They're not doing the studying to show themselves approved. They're coming to these churches as sheeple. They're sitting in these pews and they're gobbling down whatever the preacher is saying from that pulpit. And they're eating it and receiving it as truth without verification, without validation, without screening, without praying, without hearing from the Lord themselves. So many people have ceded their ability to see, hear, and understand from God himself to the pulpit. And why have you done that? Because the scriptures that I read said the veil was torn. So you can go to God directly. So why have you ceded that to the pulpit? And I believe I'm where I am because I repossessed that. Excuse me. There was some that was popular some years ago. Auntie Maxine. She said, I'm reclaiming my time, reclaim my time. Excuse me. That was popular for a while. Y'all remember that? Reclaiming my time. In other words, it happened when she was there was a hearing that they were doing. And one of these sycophants was on there babbling and babbling. And she would ask him a question, and he would go on rambling and rambling to use up her time, to eat up her time, because they only have 5 minutes or however much. And he would ramble nonsense. And so she would reclaim her time so that the talking head on the other side would not use up her time that was allotted to her on that bullshit. And I'm going to challenge everybody under the sound of my voice, either tonight watching live or whenever you watch this 20 years from now. Reclaim your time. That's right, Deidre. Reclaim your relationship with God. Reclaim your ability to see, hear, think, understand, and receive a revelation and a download from the God that you say you serve. Reclaim your relationship with God. Reclaim your ability to read the scriptures. And if you see something that doesn't make sense, ask God, what does this mean to me? And God might say, that don't mean a damn thing to you. They weren't talking to you about that. Neither am I. Go on past that. You know what I'm saying? Reclaim your time. Reclaim your relationship. Reclaim your revelation. You have a right to a revelation from God, just like the preacher does. So the awakening happens when you trust your own self. Trust yourself with the truth. It doesn't have to be filtered through the pulpit. It doesn't have to be filtered through a master's of divinity or somebody who got this title, the bishop, the apostle, the evangelist, the prophet, the prophetess. Reclaim, you got a right to a revelation your damn self. Ask God, what does it mean? Ask God, does it apply to you? Ask God, does he even want you over in that bullshit? Because Christians have a bad habit of minoring in what God majors in and majoring in what God minors in. God don't give a good goddamn if you're a woman that loves a woman or a man who loves a man. How are you walking in this earth? How are you treating your brother? Are you walking in truth, or are you a liar from the inside out, from the top to the bottom? Are you walking in integrity, or are you a cheater, a scandalous con man? Who are you in God? And who is God in you? Reclaim that. That's yours. Take it back from the pulpit. Take it back from the preacher. Take it back from the pastor. Take it back from the apostle. Take it back from the prophetess. Take it back from the church. That's between you and God.
Ooh. That's my magic fingers.
Yes.
I love
Reclaim
it.
yourself.
I love the fact that you bring you. You bring you, and you've developed a relationship with you. You've developed a relationship with you. How do you develop a relationship with God when you don't have a relationship with yourself?
You can't do it. And a lot of these people think they have a relationship with God, but they don't. They got a relationship with the church. They got a relationship with their family. They got a relationship with that pulpit. They got a relationship with that pastor. They got a relationship with their denomination. They got a relationship with a lot of shit. They ain't got a relationship with God. They think they do, but they don't.
Witnessed it. I witnessed it one time. I witnessed it during the we were at a baseball game, and I have been through a lot of transitions and things of that nature, been around Bishop. But it was after 2020, and I just sit there at that baseball game and watched everybody whenever they done the Star Spangled Banner, and just how people were locked in step to something that it was like, I get it in terms of like, this is our Pledge of Allegiance, right? Or whatever what is it? The Star Spangled Banner, whatever
The national anthem.
National anthem. I get it that they have this national anthem, but whenever they started incorporated in sports was like a political. No, it was like a like the military in the NFL. It was a marketing thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a marketing thing. And then just I grew up with it, and I could see some of the sacredness when I grew up with it. But how people were almost like zombies. And then I was in and I was seeing people worshiping. And I'm like, especially as a musician, I'm like, I don't think you worshiping God when you're doing this. You worshiping more of the people in the room. You worshiping more of what the perceived of what everybody's feeling. And of course, that's going to provide you some kind of energy, if you will, and just amongst the room. But it was just like, I really don't think, and I really feel that we call it God, but I don't think there's a deity that really cares about what we doing in this room right now. Like, you really think that he's just the guy's just like, yeah, oh yeah, sing my name more, sing my name. I love it. Is he a narcissist? Like, please
say my name. Like, look. Christy McQueen said something. She said, I'm not sure. Is he? All of God's word isn't in the Bible, and all of God isn't in the Bible. That's so true. I said that the other day. Actually, I said it. I was in the podcast. John Fuca saying, "Tell me everything on SiriusXM." Everything in the Bible ain't godly, and everything godly ain't biblical.
Why would it be?
Thank you.
Well, I mean, how are you going to say
you can't whittle God down to a book?
God is beyond our understanding, but then proceed to talk about how to read the book to understand him. It's like the master of manipulation. There's so much psychological, just it's manipulation that it's so thick and so deep that we don't even understand how manipulative it is until we do the work. You do some shadow work, you begin to find your own bullshit, and you begin to work on yourself.
Yeah.
And then you begin to discover, right? Wait a minute, time out. And I'll tell you this, crazy as it sounds, it's December, is we are due for what we call is these evolutions, awakenings. Like, we're far due. I mean, COVID was kind of the tip of it. COVID was kind of like the hard punch. Like, you are not who you think you are as humans. Punch you in the face.
You ain't all that.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, with Donald Trump's between Donald Trump and then the money and the tech and all those people behind it, right? It's just playing to power and control and the reestablishing of colonization of attention and minds, right? And it's just not going to work the same. It is going to work the same, and it has worked the same as long as people do what they've been doing, especially when it comes to belief system. And when we think about belief, we think about church. And when we think about church, we think about Christianity. And Christianity in America is always had been seemed to be one entity. It's like, oh, we have Christianity, right? But you coming out of Jehovah's Witness, it's like some of my people come out of Mormon church, but you coming out of the Jehovah Witness, I think have a really strong understanding of, we have like, I come out of Church of God in Christ. So we have like cultish behaviors, but yet though we weren't completely, totally locked in, right, to not do anything, not do this, not do that. So
you remember that thing where they were saying Whitney was not, she was crackhead. Who said that? Was that Chris Rock? I can't remember who said that.
What's that?
Yeah, they were talking about Whitney Houston, rest her soul. But he said she's not a crackhead, she's crack-ish. And when you said cult-ish, you reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kingdom Hall and the Jehovah's Dead and also Christ and all them, they cult-ish.
They're cultish, right?
They are cliquish, but they definitely cultish.
There's cultish, but cults being, we lock in the doors, you don't do this, you don't do that. I've had a few people that are connected to me and that showed me like, here's your zip code and demographic, and we make sure we know where everybody is and who we've ministered to. And now the Mormon church has doubled down. I think it should be freaking illegal that they've doubled down because they're running Snapchat ads on kids.
That's strange.
No, the Mormon church is running Snapchat ads on kids. They're using 20-year-old. It's like they're using these 20-year-old, mostly white, females, and then they'll mix in a couple of ethnic races. Not just maybe a black girl. You don't see any black guys. You see a black girl, and you might see, an Asian guy or something. But literally, they're 20-year-olds, and they're sitting there talking about, would you like to have a relationship with Jesus Christ? And I mean, the thing is that church has $250 billion, $250 billion, and they run in Snapchat ads because they understand and realize that it's no different than David Green with and the Green family with Hobby Lobby. They're the ones that behind the Jesus Was Like Us. Have you seen that campaign? They're behind that because ultimately, if you just get people to think Jesus, they don't think denomination, they don't think Western Christianity, they don't think any of that, right? You're likely just to think and be convicted, guilt, shame, and fear. And so it is just time for what you're doing. And people will begin to awaken. People are beginning to awaken, right? Because of the fact that if you can't see that it's not working, and Grandpa Donald Trump is really helping, as much as it seems like he's hurting, he's really helping.
People wake up. A lot of people are walking away. They're like, this is some bullshit here.
Yeah, and hopefully they walk away and just get a deeper understanding with Christianity and its vastness. And that's one of the things that I want people to know is the vastness of even the entity we call Christianity itself, right? So when you left the Jehovah's Witness, and I guess my thing is my camera must be doing some special stuff. I don't know, but you left Jehovah's Witness, and then you went to Baptist. But then when you started your church, what was it as a denomination?
It was non-denominational.
So you went non-denom, right? Because a lot of people, you leave all that, you go, I remember that, you go, I went to Oral Roberts. So you go non-denominational.
Yeah.
If you was considered a church, or if you considered like any, you say, I follow Jesus, or I follow the character, I'm a Christ conscious person.
Well, I was still at that time that I started the church, I was still consider myself Christian.
Right.
I wasn't all the way out the door.
Right.
I was at the door, but I was still in the building.
You said in the video it was 2020 that you began to just be able to just.
Yeah, that I just was like, yeah. This church restoration started. What is this? It was like 2015, 2016, something like that, or maybe 2014. I went straight from pastoring one to the other almost. But yeah, I wasn't all the way out there. I would still call myself a Christian proudly. But it was when I left the last church after I went through all that legal stuff and all this, and I was like, I don't even want to wear that title anymore. And when Donald Trump was elected, that kind of sealed it for me, because all these people calling themselves a Christian and you following after this clown, you're listening to the same words come out of his mouth that I'm listening to come out of his mouth, and you following behind this clown. No, we ain't finna be called the same thing. I'm not.
Well, because Christianity in America has, for the most part, we just didn't know it. But Christianity in America especially over the last 200 years, has been doubled down, as for when it comes to colonization, when it comes to people's minds, when it comes to really getting people. And I mean, if you could break someone's belief system, all of a sudden you can really have them confused. I mean, if you think about us within that, and then you think about where we are with psychology, like psychology, just in the grand scheme of it all, psychology just started in terms of the study of the human mind and brain. Viktor Frankl, it just started in terms of being able to make this distinction of like, what's going on with this person's mind. Wait a minute, you have PTSD. We just discovered PTSD over the last 70 years or so. Christianity has been around, especially Western, been around for a while. Did you do, when I speak of psychology, was there any other work that you done within that space, like if being in church and then you think about who you are, being able to have this break from the church? Well, did you do any things with therapy or anything to help with that mending process?
I cannot say that I went to sit with a psychologist or anything like that, but I have I have become part of a ministry called Ecclesia, under the leadership of Michelle Beach. And in this ministry, it's the whole thing is find your path to God. And so there's atheists, agnostics, Hindu, Buddhists, Muslim, everything in this I'll call it just group fellowship, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't call itself a church. And through that has really helped me to evolve and find my way. Because it's just a space and a place where you can discover who God is to you and who you are in God. And you wouldn't think that someone who pastored for a decade would need that, but I probably needed it more than anybody. Because when you're in those roles and you're sitting in the pulpit, you got elder preachers or whatever that's telling you who you're supposed to be. You got the people with their expectations of who you're supposed to be. You don't know who the hell you are. You're being who the preachers say you're supposed to be, and you're being who the people think you're supposed to be. What the fuck are you anyways? And a lot of these preachers don't know who they are, and they have no identity outside of the pulpit. If you pull these Negroes out of that pulpit, they don't even have a life. They don't have a life. They don't have a personality. They don't have a person outside of that pulpit. And that's how you know they don't know who they are, because who are you when you're not standing up there in front of those people? Who are you behind closed doors? Who are you if they snatch that title and that position off your ass? Who are you if you lose that pulpit in that parking spot? Who are you if you're not able to say, I'm the pastor of so and so church, and over this conference, I'm the bishop, apostle, preacher, blood. Who are you after all that shit? And you find out a lot of them don't know who the fuck they are, and they ain't nobody.
And you, as a female pastor, then you, as a Black female pastor within a evangelical space, was
I'm
that
definitely
always
a pariah.
was that always easily to navigate? Like, I mean, how'd you
No,
navigate that?
no. Because these clowns will tell you in a minute that women ain't called to preach, and then they'll tell you women ain't called to pastor, and then they'll tell you women shouldn't be over men. You know, I had a good, strong, solid men's ministry. You know why that is? Because those men recognized good leadership. It didn't have anything to do with the fact that I was a man or a woman. It's because I was a good leader. And I also knew my place. Now people be like, what do you mean you knew your place? I did not instruct men where I were not called to instruct them. I brought men in to do that. I did not take a role in their lives where I was not called to be. I brought men in to do that because that's what a good leader does. You don't have to be the one that does everything, but you make sure your people have access to everything and anything that will empower them, encourage them, and enlighten them. That's what a good leader does. And this is why you have the issue with a lot of male pastors where they get into these crazy relationships with women in their church because they're in roles and responsibilities in these women's lives that they ain't got no goddamn business being in. Why are you in that woman's ear? Why are you on the phone with this woman late at night talking about her problems in her marriage? Get a woman to talk to her about that. She ain't got no business in your goddamn office with you by yourself doing counseling. What the fuck are you even doing? Get a woman to do that. You ain't never finna catch. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of these male run churches have a men ministry deficit because they be out of order. They have 85% women and 15% men because they be out of order. And men come in that church and go right back out the way they came because they see it too. Every one of these women in this church want to be in bed with you. And you have an artificial husbandry. You got kingdom hoes and concubines up in this bitch. They see it too. Anyway, I don't know how we got all
Do you think, I would say also that it's kind of a setup. Like when you are in an environment like that and then you have this calling, it's like, I heard this pastor, he was kind of patting himself on the back about it. And he said one of his members had called him because she had just talked to the doctor about some procedure. So she called the pastor. And it was like, you are calling your pastor about a procedure that your doctor talked about.
Why?
That is just letting you know the level or power. And it started from the beginning, but it's the level of power. And they're doubling down to try to use that power right now, politically in the church so that we can say what we want because you're attacking somebody's belief systems. And then they don't know, they don't want to go to hell. They want to do the right thing. They don't want God to actually chastise them because that's a big one. That God will chastise you. And so this liberation that you're speaking of, because that's one of the things I would say more than anything, there's a level of liberation and being able to be free to know that you also have a brain, and then you also have some level of consciousness, and you're also connected to the divine. And your church can go to hell, and that's overcoming the brokenness, bitterness, and bondage of church hurt. When you think about church hurt, because what happens is when they're hearing deconstructing now, people are saying people are just church hurt. Can you describe to me what you would call church hurt, or what they say church hurt is, and then what it means to deconstruct, like, from the church?
Well, church hurt is just being wounded, and traumatized by the church. That can be the catalyst to deconstruction, but that is not deconstruction by itself. So many things could be the catalyst for a deconstruction journey. Mostly, I believe the catalyst for deconstruction journey is personal revelation, where you come to a understanding in yourself of God separate and apart from the organized religion. And then you begin to ask questions. And because you're asking questions, you begin to receive answers that you don't normally receive over that pulpit or in that circle, in that bubble, in that echo chamber of the church. And you begin to have your own personal revelation. And the thing about most Christians and church folks is they will rebuke you and try to deny you the ability to have your own revelation from God, because in their one of these guys, his name is slipping my mind, he calls it church brain. And in their mind, if it's not sanctioned by the preacher or the pastor or the pulpit, it's not real. So how dare you have a revelation outside of the revelation that pastor had? How dare you have an understanding that doesn't align with the understanding that pastor preached? You know what I'm saying? So even though they say out of one side of their mouth that Jesus hung on the cross and dead and died and rose on the third day and seated at the right hand of the Father and the veil torn away, and they say that out of one side of their mouth, but out of the other side of their mouth, they put the preacher and the pastor, the pulpit and the church in between themselves and God. And they don't allow themselves and try to keep others from having a direct relationship with God. So much so that if the pastor don't approve it, it ain't approved. If the pastor didn't say it, it ain't true. If the pastor doesn't say you can, then you can't. If the pastor says you can't, you can, then you can. If he says you can, then you can't. Their whole life. A lot of marriages get tore up in the church for this reason, because the pastor is sitting in the seat of the husband and the husband don't have a place in the marriage. That's right. Deidre said it's a cult of personality, and it is. And there's a lot of women sitting in the church single because of their pastors. We ain't really got time to talk about it, but they aren't available because they're in an artificial relationship with their pastor. We ain't even got time to go into it. But that's the thing. These people are in covenant with the church. They're in covenant with the pastor. They're in covenant with their religion. They're in covenant with their denomination. They're in covenant with their conference, whether that's Kojic, Baptist, Church of Christ, whatever it is you're doing, but they're not in covenant with Christ and God himself. They're not. And they think that they believe in God. Well, what they really believe is in the church universal, the denomination, the religion, the preacher, and the pastor. And you know how you know? Because a lot of folks, when they fall out with the pastor, they fall out with God. Why you fall out with God? Because your pastor fucked up. He's not God. So what's your relationship with God via your pastor? And this is where the deconstruction begins. You begin to divorce the preacher from the gospel, and you begin to divorce the gospel from the church, and you begin to divorce yourself from religion so that you could have a right relationship with God for yourself. That's deconstruction. Deconstruction is, I don't have to get anybody on earth walking around with a skeleton with skin and bones, just like me. I don't have to get nobody on this earth approval for what I think, believe, know, and understand. Nobody. And I can reject. I have a right to reject what the fuck you're talking about and what the fuck you're talking about and what the fuck you're preaching about, because I have a right to ask questions and learn myself and filter that shit through the truth and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And I have a right to my lived experiences, and I'm not going to let you gaslight me out of my truth. A lot of people allow the preachers, pastors, and pulpits to gaslight them out of their own lived experiences. You having a mental health crisis, they're going to tell you demon possessed. No, you're depressed. You're not demon possessed. You also might have a chemical imbalance. You might need to go get some medication. Yes, pray, but pray is not enough. Go get some therapy. The fuck? Go get some counseling. You got childhood trauma. Go get some healing. You're depressed. Get some vitamin D, goddammit. Black people are disproportionately chronically low on vitamin D, especially Black women. You don't got a demon, you got depression. Get up and get your Black ass and gotta go outside. Get some sun, get some vitamin D, get some counseling, get some therapy, get a prescription, and also pray. But don't cede your peace, your joy, your understanding, and your revelation to that pulpit. Reclaim yourself and reclaim your relationship with God.
I love it.
If you don't hear nothing else, go outside. God,
Go outside. Oh my God. Oh.
Sit up in that church waiting for a man to come find you. Take your ass outside.
It's funny because here it is. You got bitten, the gaslighting you, right? And you don't even know that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They don't even know necessarily.
They might not know that's what they're doing.
No, most narcissists or most people like that not think about like, oh, let me think, how can I be a narcissist? No, this is a human behavior,
a trait,
and it's locked in, and all they can think about is God told me to do it. God told me. They are coming against God. They coming against you, dog. You don't like the fact that you don't have a certain level of power over people, and therefore,
they'll say something like, "How dare you question me, motherfucker? You are a human being just like me. I'm not questioning you. I'm asking you a question. It shouldn't piss you off if you got an answer, nigga. Excuse my language. I don't want to.
We too late for that. Hey, listen, it's more of my conversations that I have with some of my people. Some of my people behind the scenes. We'll have to have you one of these times to our private. It's
how you gonna get mad because I asked a question talking about I'm questioning you? I ain't questioning you. Who the fuck are you? Who are you?
Right. And on what we read in this book called Spiritual Warrior and it says, people say, what authority do you come on? Like, people say, I come on the authority of the Bible and the word and this and that. And so what authority do you come on to question?
Right.
How are you able to question? I think also it's just come this far that we are able to have private podcasts and video casts. We have ChatGPT and we have information. They're doing everything possible to hide information and to make information impossible, or this send out information that is completely fake.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just in a day and time that people can actually tap in, tune in, and find information and freedom. Because ultimately, even if someone doesn't necessarily fully embrace, if you don't fully embrace someone like Miss Desimber, one thing you can embrace is the fact there's a personal power, personal freedom, and the things that she has been through. You've been through some things, and that means like physical things that goes beyond the church. You know what I'm saying? That goes beyond belief. I always say beyond belief, because where there's belief, there's doubt. Right? I don't believe my mom is my mom. I know she's my mom. From all of the overall evidence, I'm like, her nose, her face, her skin, her build, right? There's physical, scientific evidence. And then I can look at the DNA, and the DNA says it. I have all these markers that says my mom is my mom. So I don't believe she's my mom. So if you believe it in God, there's a chance you don't know God. And in order for you to know God for yourself, how do you know God for yourself if you don't know who yourself is? And I think your boldness and your confidence in who you are and how you preach today, right? How you preach today, it reminds me of some of the realness that some of these people, especially the people like us that look like us, that have been trying to find God and trying to find the connection to the divine. It's always been taught from the church. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and literally I can literally go uh, uh, a square mile, and within that square mile, especially here where I live in north side of Tulsa, I go in that square mile, and there's going to be probably every bit of 20 churches. Some of them, 3 or 4 of them on the same block. Boop, 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 boop. And, 90% of them are dead, right? You got 5 members, 5 members, 5 members. And so we've been doing it for so long that they don't know. And, I've had an epiphany where a lot of the people that we would try to minister to, or we would try to get to that was in the streets, all of a sudden, a lot of those people that are in the streets are now turning to the church, but they bring in the street to their ministry. So they're coming to people to attack people like they're in the street. And a lot of us have evolved, and we have moved past a lot of the old dogma, and we've moved past a lot of the I've moved so far past, especially King James.
Yeah.
I've moved so
worship that. It's so crazy.
Do you know, check this fact. This is really cool. Slavery was official. They had already been doing it, but slavery was official in production, if you will, in 1619.
Mm-hmm.
King James Bible was 1611.
Mm-hmm.
So 1611, by 1619, they're going to be basically full-fledged slavery. And then they're going to use that book to do, the book was brilliantly made for colonization.
Well, they had a special Bible just for the slaves.
Yeah, the slave Bible, where they begin to take things out. I know you're going to have to get ready to go, but one of the things that I want to end up on is not, of course, people being able to connect, and we'll just have to have you back again. We'll have you back. But to sum it up, well, I know you do spoken word, right? I know that's a piece. And let me bring Deidre. Let me see, because Deidre might have some before you get out of here. She might have some questions and might have some things. So I want to let Deidre get some time.
I wanted to affirm that we have to have you back, dear, for a part 2, because this is good. This is good. We're just getting started. So just thank you. So I don't want to hold you. I know you tend into your family and you got to do those things. So thank you. And listen, everybody in the comments, I put it there, but go purchase her book. The Church Can Go to Hell. It's available on Amazon.
And there's more than one in there.
Yeah. There's a few. I just released a book with choir, with a group of authors called "The Unchristian Truth About White Christian Nationalism." We just put that one out late last month.
And what we'll do is we'll put that in the Patreon group and also put it in the comments. We'll get that information, put it out. Also, I wanted you all to know you can catch Desimber on the God Squad podcast. That's how I got to know her after meeting Keith last year. So the God Squad podcast, you can find that anywhere. She's also featured with John Fugelsang. So Desimber's out there disrupting things and being unapologetically you. I honor you for your journey, because like we know, so many people wouldn't be able to go through what you did, but we're grateful that you're here. We're grateful.
Absolutely. And I want to tell you this. A lot of people can't break free from the system. because of the fact that you have to have liberators. Okay. It's very important. Like if you look at any part of human history, in the sense as because humans present a very animalistic behavior, and as we learn more through consciousness, that we're connected, right? Not only to each other, to the divine, but also being able to connect and understand that it's like the 4-minute mile, if you're familiar with that. Until the one person that ran the 4-minute mile, everyone else said your heart would explode. After he did it, after he done that, multiple people did it. And so therefore, you as a liberator in your skin, as a female, it's very important that you keep doing what you're doing. And if there's ways, because I don't know, do you do your own also YouTube or Instagram and preach like you were preaching tonight?
I have been asked to do it. I have been considering doing it, but I do not yet do it. No, I do the God Squad pod. I do the God Squad on John Fuca Singh show. I do guest hosting on Heretic Happy Hour with Keith Giles and the crew and Matthew Stefano and them. But no, I don't.
Okay.
But I
I'm
haven't.
gonna tell you, it's a different. I've heard you with Keith, and it's amazing. But there's something different when you get to unwind, especially. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say it like I feel right now, especially when you're unwinding and you're potentially talking to us.
Oh, I'm with my family.
When you're talking to us, because there's certain things, and the thing is that, but there's certain people right now I know in my life today, or people that I'm around, that could use a little bit of that because of it's an empowerment, right? It's a boldness, it's an empowerment, but then you're going to actually be able to get into some people's psyche that nobody else can, right? And they could be like, I can listen to her. You know, she been through this, she been through that. I can listen to her, and I'm telling you, like, as you were bringing it, you were bringing it. I could just see it now. Seriously, I could see it. And all it is basically you know, you got your 30 minutes or 60 minutes, and I'm going to YouTube, and you bring it out there. You bringing it to us, right? You bringing your truth, you bringing your right, your divine connection and empowering us. Because wouldn't you say, Deidre, like you really was laying it out and empowering us, because some of us, we are there, but it also helps when we hear somebody such as yourself, especially like I don't talk like that necessarily on my show, but I do talk like that at home and when I talk to Deidre.
Right. Yeah. You know how we do. You know how we do.
You know how we do. Yeah. I with my people, you know.
Exactly.
There's a comfort. There's a comfort of expression when you're with your people and they understand you.
Yes.
You know, this is my brother and my sister.
Absolutely.
You know, we got the same mother Africa. So I'm with my people, you know. It's a little different.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll do this again for sure. Put in your calendar that we're going to do this in the fall.
Okay. All right.
All right. Put it in the fall, because what I do in expanded consciousness, just as Bishop Pearson did, is I love to see and help people grow within who they are. That's one of the things that he really loved and he really pushed. I mean, therefore, from Miles Monroe to T.D. Jakes, right? To you know,
Miles Monroe is one of my favorites. Yeah.
Who? Dr. Monroe?
Yeah, he is one of my favorite teachers. Now, do I agree with every single thing he says? No, but I don't agree with every single thing any human being says.
I will tell you this.
That wouldn't be normal, but he is an amazing teacher.
I was working with his son last year. His son gave me like these 1984 teachings, 1980 teachings. And I was sitting there converting them in AI for his app. And I will tell you, I'm amazed that he was able to get away with some of the stuff that I was sitting there listening to. How did he get away with that? Because I'm like, wait a minute. This is not right. Wait, how did he get away with it? He was actually talking that was just.
I don't agree with everything he teaches, but he is a profound teacher. For the I eat my motto with all that is eat the meat and leave the bones.
Yes,
Right?
he said that. He said that. He said that a lot. And I'll tell you, in his personhood, he was like that in person too. Like literally, I could be just he and I, and he would act the same way. He would be like, if there's 1,000 people that he's talking to, he would be like that in your face. Like, is that what it is, Malachi? Yes, Dr. Monroe. But spoken word. Are you doing that actively?
Yes and no. So when I'm called upon, and I'm booked sometimes to do for conferences and things. I just came back last month from a conference with the Ecclesia group, and my contribution to that was I summed up that whole 4 days in a spoken word piece based on what we did, our experiences and everything. So it was specifically written for that group and that experience. And then I'll do spoken word as part of my speaking engagement. Sometimes I'll some in and out of there. I tend to preach in poetry a lot of the time, just because it's in my nature. So my sermons tend to be poetic. When you read the book, The Church Can Go to Hell, some of those things, when you're reading it, it sounds like spoken word because I'm a spoken word artist. So I write with that cadence. But yeah, I don't really do it as actively like I used to. I used to go to the coffee houses and the open mics and stuff. And I just, I'm about to be 45. I got 2 kids. I ain't got time. But
nah, just do it on the internet. Just take a few minutes and do it on the internet. You don't have nothing for us real quick?
I do. I have a little something. Now, part of this I've never performed live. The other part I have a poem called Bougie. But I'm gonna merge it with another poem called The Church Can Go to Hell. So I'm gonna do half of that poem and merge it with Bougie. And I think y'all will enjoy it. I hope you do. Anyway, so hopefully I don't stumble through it because I've never performed the first part of this live to anyone.
Hey, just use this as a testing ground, and you won't mess up. It's just a test. It's just the 3 of us, right?
It's just us. It's just the 3 of them. Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. Shots fired with precision. He that has an ear, let him listen. I'm tired of this church and I'm about to walk out. I'm sick of these Christians and I'm calling you out now. Witches and warlocks punching these clocks in the church. They don't care about the souls they hurt. And I'm probably going to lose some friends, but this is just God tying up loose ends because all I see is wolves in white collars coming to fleece the sheep. How you going to be the shepherd but rape Bo Peep? How you living on the surface but acting deep? Posted up in the church to prey on the weak. You so vain. You so vain. You probably think this song is about you. And you right. From the storefronts to the superdomes, what happens in the dark is coming to light. Flip the switch, draws down in the pulpit, slip showing on the front row. You're going to reap what you sow. God is not to be mocked. Keep on if you want, but you're about to get caught. And maybe you don't care because you don't know the God I serve. You keep his name in your mouth, but you ignore his word. Can't tell me nothing. This grace is undeserved. So all y'all super saints acting perfect can catch this bird. Steady fronting. You treat faith like your baby mama. Sleep with it for grace, then commit to drama. And got the nerve to boast about your crowd size so you can manipulate the masses. You're not growing, you're swollen. It's called an infection. You're neither called nor chosen. It's called an election. You collect the tithes and pull up to the temple with your cars and your clothes to turn tricks with prophecy for only fans and hoes. Damn right. I'm flipping tables and I don't care who knows. Shout out to all the real ones that's about them souls. Woe in the red letters. We need a Lily led better in the church because your ego can't stomach my worth. I'm just trying to feel heaven, but you got me riding the bench because I won't bow down and let you lift my skirt. I'm spiritually bougie. No counterfeits and off brands. I'm not a Jesus Christ groupie, but a diehard fan. I go to all the games and all the shows. I pay through the nose to stand on the front row of faith because I can't wait to see Jesus on a stage of clouds backed up by a band of trumpets. And I can't wait to see my eternal crown of precious metal, jewel encrusted with stones of souls saved and won to the Son. That's why I'm selective to suggestions I take and advice I seek. Not every prophet can speak life into me because lies rest on the tongues of those separated from their crosses, and all those itching ears that they scratch suffer losses of mounting damage, and the death toll is rising because their swords did not choose life. Listen, I don't go to church bargain hunting. I come with my eyes and ears open looking for something. I want to be where the real word is. My soul will bear witness of where the real word lives. I don't come to service. I come to be of service. And I don't come to have church. I come to be the church. And yeah, I got my nose in the air. That's because my eyes are on the hills from which cometh my help. And no, I don't just go anywhere, because where I worship reflects on how I care for myself. I don't have time for fighting and drama, busybodies backbiting politics in the church. And I certainly don't have time for a watered down word of head coverings and skirts, illegitimate births, strange doctrines, and faithless works from men and women who claim to be called, but don't even know what the word is worth. Excuse me. I'm sorry about your feet and your ruffled shirts, but it's the truth I speak, and I can't help if it hurts. And if you don't think I'm qualified to step on your toes, consider this my trial sermon, because I already know I was born for this before the kiss of Judas on my Savior's cheek. Now I'm on the list, not that I chose God, but he chose me. And it's him I'm searching for in sanctuaries and storefronts, waiting for all the saints to come to the forefront. Holy Ghost filled, sanctified, and anointed, predestined, ordained, willing, and appointed, dead to the world, serving God with their life, tired of just preaching Jesus and ready to live Christ. Thank you.
How does that feel? I mean,
the virtual snaps. It won't get too loud.
You just lay some bars. You just lay some bars. Like, I'm like, where does she live? Because I need to bust out a camera and do a video.
I'm in Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, that's where you close to my sister. And who else? You out there by Apostle Clapp. Might have to get you connected. He's got the expanded consciousness that he does out there.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. We're around. That was the next level.
Thank you.
Ooh, thank you so much for your time. I love it. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us on here. I'll try to get that to you so you have that. Right. That was amazing. Wow. Yeah, we definitely have to have you back, because now it always happens. Here it is, 10 o'clock, and everybody want to start trying to show up. Y'all have missed it.
It's okay. Y'all tied to the party.
Catch the replay. Catch the replay.
Yeah, catch it on the replay.
Well, I appreciate you. I'll let you get to it. And we look forward to having you back. And y'all also will put it in the description and in Patreon, because I think we should at least be able to buy, 5 or 6, 10 of her books.
Absolutely.
Amongst everybody.
Thank you. I'll take 5 or 6, 10 books. And I'm going to be praying on that podcast. You're about the 11th person that told me I need to do something. So I might, might have pushed me on the edge. I might do something.
We can talk after, down the line, because it could be, it's no different than what you're already doing. It's just basically putting in schedule, having the right stuff, recording it, submit it, and just keep it moving. But I'm telling you, we have to have liberators. A lot of people can't be liberated because there's so many preachers and there's so many churches that are constantly pumping the content. Donald Trump, and I promise you I'll let you go. I'll bring up his name, and that'll put us back on talk for about an hour. But Donald Trump in Truth Social posted to make this distraction from him. I think I looked at it the other day, and he had posted Obama like something to do with Obama on his thing. I don't
Yeah,
know. It might have been 20
yeah.
times.
Getting
20
arrested.
times in
Getting
one day.
arrested. Yep.
It was him
Yeah.
arrested, but then it was just other stuff about Obama.
Yeah.
This about Obama,
It's
that about Obama.
obsessed.
Like
He is
it's
obsessed.
Obsession.
well, what happens is they know how the media works in the sense where it's like they doing this, and we're gonna just be a complete clown, and we're gonna just be like, what we need to be talking about is this. And if you pump that out there enough,
No.
you can
That's-
still get 5 or 6 or 10 million people to be like, oh yeah, he's right.
Yeah. You're gonna get these clowns to follow you. Yeah.
The way you refute that, the way we actually deal with that is we have our channels and we promote and we push, right, our stuff,
On our platform.
our communication, right? And you can help other people be liberated and become whoever they are, right? Because really that's what it comes down to, is the divine, I call it the authentic divine self, right? Being who you truly are. But thank you so much. We'll let you go.
All right. Thank y'all for having me. I love you. Check out the God Squad. Shout out to Choir and all my family at Choir. Dylan Neighbor Cruiser, Tattoo Theologian. Check him out. Keith Giles, Matthew DeStefano, all the things. Have me back anytime. The invitation is always going to be yes. If my date is open, it's a yes. Okay, have me back anytime.
We'll get it scheduled. We have some other people from the publishing house. I think there's 2 other people from your publishing house.
Maddie Joe.
Maddie Joe is next. I think.
Y'all take care.
Yes.
Love, peace, chicken grease, and all that good thing.
All right. Have a good one.
Good night.
Hey.
What you think?
It was beautiful. I knew it. I was like, I knew she was gonna come with it because that's why I love her so much. Love it. She's a special person, so I'm grateful that she was on. And it looks like everybody enjoyed it and they want more.
Well, we'll look to bringing more and look to hopefully helping everyone with their journey, right? That's ultimately why we're here, is to help with your journey. And one of the things I think that I really admired about her in who she is that her confidence, her boldness, and yet though she's still reestablishing her relationship, right, on the way she views and sees God outside of being like, yeah, I'm a Christian. I have to say that in order to have a relationship with what I believe God is. So I think that's amazing. And if there's anyone out there, make sure y'all don't have any questions or even comments. Is there any comments? I would love, if y'all have any comments, just let me,
Yeah, I was posting them in real time, a lot of them, but let's see. I think I had a couple from the beginning where if people were speaking. Oh, Miss Dolores. Yes, we definitely did enjoy her. It's good to see you, Miss Dolores. And I think, I'm not sure, but hi, Velma. It's good to see you. Let's see who else I missed. Lynn Crawford, I forgot to post your welcome earlier. And Dr. Dorothy joined us.
Hey.
We're missing Miss Marie tonight, but she sends her love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was one. Miss Holly.
Holly. Yep. Did you see something else that I missed? May have missed?
No, I didn't. I just letting people know also that, if you haven't, I see there's people still on here, but listen, there's the community.
Join the community. You can join us on Saturday.
Yep.
I forgot the screen doesn't go all the way over to the side. There.
Yep. And that's also, if you want the website, or if you just look, I put it at Malachi Gross. You just click on Expanded Conscious Community, just making it where you can actually still get to it. So, all right, I guess I will end it at 10. Even though I don't want to, I love it. I look forward every single Thursday to come and actually break bread and communicate.
Dorothy Inez, it's good to see you.
Hey, Miss Dorothy Inez, good to see you. Good to see you. We might one of these times. You guys are in the room, but one of these times, we may end up doing a after show, and in the after show, bring people on stage to let people comment and talk, and yeah, I think it'd be cool to have some other people be able to come and communicate and talk. Hey, Tia. All right. Love you guys, and we'll talk to you next week. Is there a guest next week?
No, we don't
Okay.
have a confirmed guest for next week, but
We'll be here.
We'll be here. We'll see what we do. Might
All
be
right.
me, might be the coach. Who knows? Take care,
Awesome.
everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
If it's Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, or Mohammed, just know, my friend, God is within. No matter the name, no matter the faith, God is within, moving through grace. Born from a world of love, no shame. We all feel it when we hear our name. Our name is